not promote or promotion any illegal activities. All content provided by this channel is meant only for educational purpose only.
X Twitter, that should be crazy, man. What's up, everybody, man? What's going on? Your boy Mikey, Can We Keep It Real podcast is here. We back at it. We're going to talk a little bit about Ponaganset. Thursday night football tonight. We're going to talk about that as well. You know, we got some games lined up tonight. North Smithfield, I know they're playing tonight. But listen, man, you see the title of this particular one. This isn't the first time at Ponaganset. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go back. You know, this is actually the second sex scandal going on at Ponaganset in like the last five years. You know, we're going to tell you why Renee Palazzo lied through her teeth when she told everybody that we didn't know. We didn't know. You knew. You knew what was going on. We didn't know. You knew. You knew. We're going to go back about 5 years and talk about Ponaganset High School. You know, we're going to talk about Jake Nealing. Is that his name? Jake Nealing. Jake Nellin. You know, Jake Nealing, who another one that got caught, you know, he was having intercourse in the classroom with a gym teacher, you know, different gym teacher, not the same gym teacher. But that's what Jake was doing over there at Ponaganset, you know. And then remember, you know, but his mom was on the school committee, right? And Jake, man, Jake just don't care. Jakey boy. Jake was riding around in a car full of high school girls, right? He's sitting in the back seat of the car. We're going to get into that. I'm talking about the former Ponaganset athletic director. He's in the back seat of the car. He got... You know, he's in the middle, got high school girls in the back. You got a couple in the front driving. We're going to talk about that also, you know, and we're going to talk about what did Renee Palazzo do to take care of the Jake situation when it originally happened, when Jake got caught having sex in the classroom at Ponaganset. Yeah, that's right. He got caught in the classroom at Ponaganset by students. What's going on over there at Ponaganset? What is going on? We'll talk about the dance as well. You know, we didn't know what was going on, but you, at the dance, allegedly, she's hanging all over him, right? Where you have to ask her to leave, but we didn't know. Ponaganset's going on, we didn't know. And what? John DePietro reports the English teachers talking to the state police. The English teacher saying, we brought this information forward. But Ponaganset, we didn't know. Like, I don't know why you lying like that. I don't know why you be lying. And it's really a messed up situation. You know, and a lot of people say because it's a boy, you know, a lot of hoorah, clapping. But what if it was a girl? You know, I asked the coach yesterday, what would you do if it was your son? Oh, high five, this and that. Oh, that's cute, right? What about if it was your daughter? Oh, no, different story. But we know now why at least you didn't go to school Monday. See, we heard this stuff coming down, Friday? I mean, people been known about this. It's no secret. It was known about this inside the school. On his 7-on-7 knew about this. Guy says to his son the other day, he said, hey, did you hear about so-and-so? He said, oh yeah, with the gym teacher, like no secret. It's been going on since the sophomore year. But what I wonder, is there a statute of limitations on that charge? Because sophomore year, kid was 15 years old. Statute of limitations usually about 3 years. 18. Is there a statute of limitations on that? And then age of consent the following years, but yeah, crazy, crazy stuff, man. Crazy, crazy stuff. I wanted to play this quick little video for you. Where is it? Yeah, it's definitely a nice day. We got some football games going on. Some Karen Reed leaked messages. Looked like Turtle Boy was recording Karen Reed's phone conversations, man. Turtle Boy, say you wasn't doing that. That's grimy. I was just watching something too, man. Come on. Damn, I was just watching something, man. But we're gonna get into it a little bit. What is going on? High school football, Thursday night football going on tonight. There's definitely some games going on. I know North Smithfield, and I think Smithfield is going on. That game's going to be going on tonight. So we'll see how North Smithfield does. But Thursday night football games set up tonight. Smithfield at North Smithfield High School. So get out there to North Smithfield High School and support your football programs, man. Mount Hope and Charahoe. Mount Hope playing good football. Mount Hope could be one of the better teams in Division 3. No cap. Central Falls and Pawtucket. Pawtucket's sitting in second right now. What? Second? Third. Third. I'm sorry, in Division 2. So shout out to Coach DeLawrence and Pawtucket. Central Falls and Tollgate. That should be a nice win for CF. And Situate and Davies will be going down tonight. Situate and Davies. But now we're here. We're going to talk about it. We definitely going to talk about it. We're here to talk about all things Ponaganset, But, I want to take you back. Let me shut off the music. This stuff going on right now over at Ponaganset. It's a shame. It's sad. It's sad for everybody. This poor lady's husband. Everyone talks about how he's such a great man, a great guy. They have children. A family was ruined, and it's her own fault. You definitely got to put the blame on her. We have a lot of comments. Do you know them? I know the student. Okay, I know the student. Who was caught? Well, the teacher. Allegedly, we'll say. The stuff I was saying in the classrooms, that's a whole nother situation that went on at Ponaganset, where the athletic director got caught with one of the other gym teacher, matter of fact. Not her, but the other gym teacher, the former athletic director, got caught doing a nappy dugout in the classroom. And I'm just saying, this is a situation where, Ponaganset's talking about we didn't know. We didn't know this was going on. No, you knew. You knew this was going on. John DePietro reports that the English teacher, and I can't take John's word for anything. I mean, he's definitely a tool, but the English teacher, I guess, is talking to the state police. We knew there's a video out there. And if you have a video and you want to send it in, send it to Can We Keep It Real, the number 5 at gmail.com. Can We Keep It Real, the number 5 at gmail.com. We know there's a video at the dance where, the gym teacher was hanging all over the student athlete, was hanging all over him, to a point where other staff members noticed it. There's a video that some of one of the staff members took. Shout out Central Knights. Shout out my man Mikey Washington down there, Central Knights. Shout out my man Thomas Longo, Decatur Square, man. Shout out Decatur Square. Historical place, Federal Hill, man. Decatur Square. Shout out Central Knights. But people knew, that this was going on. People knew that she was having sex with the student. And it started when he was 15 years old. I know a lot of people saying, no big deal. The kid, he graduated high school. But this started when he was 15. His people saying there's a whole Diddy thing going on. Like, this lady knew what she was doing professionally. Have you went on Reddit and you read some of the comments about her when she was at North Smithfield? I think I screenshotted a couple of them. I was in her class, and a lot of people saw how weird she was with the boys in her class. I remember that she was too friendly with my boyfriend, and she would go and touch his hands and hug him, which is weird ASF coming from a teacher. A friend who went to high school with her mentioned she's been married twice. Oh, wow. And cheated on her first husband. Seems like a pattern of poor choices. Ouch. A friend who went to high school with her married. Oh, cheated on her first husband before and after the wedding. How do you do that? How do you do that before and after the wedding, man? You grimy. Damn. She cheated on her boy before and after the wedding on her first husband. Oh, snap. Look, cheated on her first husband before and after the wedding with the gym teacher she's married to now when she was working in North Smithfield High School. Also was extremely creepy and inappropriate towards the boys there as well. Damn, we really got allegedly a predator. Someone said, I wonder where she is staying. And look, did her husband leave her? That's the question. It depends. Maybe he's going to be loyal and stick around. I mean, I'm sure he definitely needs some mental health days. Like, I can only imagine going back to, I'd be embarrassed. Imagine you'd be embarrassed. Like, damn, I guess I couldn't take care of my wife, so she had to go get a little boy at school. Like, that's crazy. Cheated on her first husband before and after the wedding with the gym teacher she is married to now. When she was working in North Smithfield, also extremely creepy and inappropriate towards the boys there as well. Does anyone know if there were other victims? Personally, it is very frustrating that the news isn't releasing her name. If she was a man, she would already have been arrested and thrown in jail, but because she's a woman, she gets better treatment. Is that the case? Is she getting better treatment because she is a woman? Her name is Alicia Crittens. She was my gym teacher. I highly doubt he was the only victim. She always flirted with all the boys. Oh, she says it's for the boys. Um, yeah, I think. Oh, we can't say that. This is just so crazy. The news isn't naming her. All right. I mean, it ain't that crazy. Even touching and hugging him. She wore skin tight clothes as well. I mean, does this sound like somebody, like I said, this isn't the only time. We have to go back 5 years ago. The former athletic director, Jake Nealing, to his position that his mommy gave him. Imagine that. That guy was Jimmy Cook's assistant coach one day, and then Jimmy Cook's boss the next day. No wonder Jimmy got canned out of there. You fired the guy, then he becomes your boss, and then Jimmy Cook, and then he gets rid of you, Jimmy. Go figure. You know what I mean? Go figure. I got some notes up here. I'm gonna hang on. And of course, I gotta reset this now. But yep, I got some notes. So yeah, so we had the situation that was going on in the at the dance. And again, if you have video, if you have any information, look, anyone that knows me knows I always keep it anonymous. I never gave up any source. I've been doing this 8 years. Ask around, you know, my word is my bond, so you can email me. Can we keep it real? One word, the number 5 at gmail.com. Any information you send me is completely 100% anonymous, confidential. We want to expose what's going on. We know the school knew about this. We know Sneaky Renee knew about this. I mean, how many things has Palazzo covered up? I mean, really, how many things have this lady covered up? Oh, that's where it is. Here's the video. All right, I'm gonna play you a quick video. This is one of where is he? One of my son. Appreciate to him. He's talking about the grass at EWG is very long. So let me play this video. Yeah, I like this one. Where's my
Exeter is very long. Did his knee touch the ground? I don't know.
Your boy said the grass at EWG is very long. This game right here was EWG Ponaganset. This was when Ponaganset won the Super Bowl 5 years ago when you had the young class, the class that graduated last season when, the sophomore she was with, he started on that team, so this guy was talking about, a fumble, and did his knee touch the ground. Listen to this guy. You can't even make this shit up.
Insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Look, did his knee touch the ground?
Exeter is very long. Did his knee touch the ground? I don't know.
Most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I mean, we read that in his columns at the Providence Journal. There ain't a rational column that he writes about.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Thanks, Eric.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
May God have mercy on your soul. Yeah, Eric is definitely a class act, 100%. Weirdo, got them weird tendency vibes. You know, people that got them weird tendencies. That's your boy Eric. Oh, that's the one that I just lost. I just lost a subscriber. There goes Eric. Eric, come back. Now, Eric is a clown. You know what I mean? Eric over here brags that, he thinks he's in competition with me, and he's bragging how I'm the number one, the number one football guy. I'm the one you don't want to go listen to a guy sitting in his basement, blase blah. And I'm like, bro, man, like, is it really that bad, Eric? Is it that bad to be you that you want to be me?
Listen, no one's going to give you more coverage. No one's going to be at more games. No one's going to be more informed. I'm not just some guy sitting in his basement spouting off about who's winning games and who's doing what. We're real. The rebellion is real. Providence Journal coverage is going to be real this year. It's almost here, 3 days away.
Well, it's going to be real this year because we know it hasn't been real in the past, Eric. You know what I mean? We know it hasn't been real in the past. Why is that so small? I have no idea. Yeah, it definitely has not been real in the past. That's crazy. Look how small that shit is. I don't know. That's weird. But listen, man, I appreciate everybody that supports me, man. Listen, if you're thinking about buying a house or you're thinking about, maybe leaving Ponaganset area, until all this stuff, kind of blows over.
Are you dreaming of the perfect home? Your dream home doesn't have to be just a dream. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Kathy Foisey from HomeSmart Professionals Real Estate is here to make it a reality. Expertise in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, Kathy is ready to guide you every step of the way. Reach out today at 401-486-6587 or email kfoisey1@gmail.com.
If you want to support the podcast, make a donation, appreciate, we could definitely always appreciate the extra help. You can hit me up at Can We Keep It Real Cash App or inbox me, and we'll give you the instructions. But yeah, so I'm waiting to get my notes back up. But what's going on over at Ponaganset is crazy. But Ponaganset, they definitely knew about what was going on. 100%. Just like we didn't know about the Jake situation, just like we didn't know about Jake kneeling, when he was smashing the teacher in the classroom. You know what I mean? And this wasn't that long ago. This was just a couple years ago. And who walked in on him? Who walked in on Jake? You're right. A couple students did. A couple students did, right. sorry, I was getting the damn email here. What's going on here? I mean, imagine what's going on at Ponaganset now. I mean, school officials sitting around a conference table, drinking their coffee, ignoring signs, like what's going on, drinking their coffee, ignoring things, trying to figure out how to handle this. Because I know it took them like all day just to send out the. I don't even know if they ever eventually reached out to the parents. Because I know as of yesterday morning, they didn't reach out to parents and let them know that their teacher, was molesting a student since he was 15 years old, and they weren't doing their due diligence to protect him. And teachers knew about it, and a teacher came forward, so with Renee Palazzo, lying through her teeth again, how many scandals has Ponaganset had? You had the scandal, and we're going to talk about Jake. You got this situation with the young man, and is there more? Are there others? Are there other boys that got caught up in this? But you know what? You failed at Pontiac. You failed the students. And these words are not just like a reprimand. Hello, you still with us? Let me know in the comment section. I had some technical difficulties. But what's going on? We're back. Can we keep a real podcast? Talking about the Ponaganset situation. What was going on. And I just think that they failed the students over there at Ponaganset. Take the time to share this, so we can get the numbers back up there again before we go in and talk about, the other situation that the school covered up, just like this situation. The school absolutely, they put in the, Well, if I show you, video and let's see what the Valley Breeze is saying. Ponaganset teacher resigns after relationship with student. Ponaganset High School gym teacher is no longer employed and is now being investigated by the Rhode Island State Police, accused of having inappropriate relationships with a former 15-year-old male student. I mean, not for nothing, but he was once 10 years old as well. He was once 7 with a former 15. I mean, he was formerly 17 too. He's a damn adult right now. Alicia Crins, age 39, has resigned. School officials confirmed Tuesday. She worked as the program instructor for Ponaganset High School Health and Fitness EMT CTE program. Or she also did the EMT class. So we don't even know if the EMT guys was knocking her off. Right? The EMT guys were knocking her off. But she previously worked at North Smithfield High School where she met her husband. Also a teacher, according to online reports. Cringe had been involved with the students who graduated last year, starting during his sophomore year. During the sophomore year, the relationship came to light when the student's girlfriend discovered text messages from the teacher on his phone. It was really text messages and video. Here's what's interesting. Town Council President Will Worthy said he was shocked to learn of the allegations. He said he's disgusted to hear that the teacher's action were possibly known without any action taken before now. Because everybody knew about this. Students knew about this. A lot of people knew about this. This wasn't a secret. Renee was keeping it a secret. I mean, teachers are mandated reporters, which requires them to report child abuse or neglect. Is that any teacher who knew of the relationship should have reported it. If you had anything to do with it, you fired. They said, you fired. You're out of here. And a lot of people knew about what was going on with the teacher. A lot of people knew what was going on with the teacher. Before I talk about, the former athletic director, I just think what's going on right now across the state, we're failing our kids, right? These words are not just a reprimand, like I said earlier. You're failing our kids, and it's a reality check. If you ain't keeping kids safe, then what are you doing? I mean, it's like a lifeguard who can't swim, right? Yeah, you look good. You're all cut up. You got the six-pack, buddy. You know what I mean? Or you look cute, baby. You know what I mean? But you can't swim. So how are you going to save my ass? I mean, we're here to shine a light on this issue. Because if we can't, this is just so absurd. I mean, I talked to educators today. I talked to parents, teachers, administrators, and I'm trying to get everybody's side and everybody's thought process, about all of this and how everybody, was taking it. But this is a topic that could explode. I mean, it cuts to the very heart of the educational system and the problem that we have. And we have ADs that's banging out teachers in classrooms. We got teachers that's banging out a sophomore class before football games. I mean, how about a scenario where warnings were raised, voices were concerned, but nothing was done? And that's what happened in this situation. Teachers came forward. The administration, shh. Just like Jake, shh. Shh. When Jake was banging the teachers in the classroom and the kids walked in on him, not once, twice. And then what's he do? Him and a gym teacher, another gym teacher. I don't know what it is about Ponaganset gym teachers. They be hiring gym teachers that are just banging it out. You got an athletic director that's banging out one gym teacher. Then you got another gym teacher that's banging out a student. They're all banging it out. I mean, so the warnings are raised. You're hearing the voices, but you ain't saying nothing about it. It's like, never mind the thin blue line, right? The big blue wall. Like they say about the police. Well, there's a big blue wall, a thin blue line, however you want to cut it, in all professions. Look how the teachers are kind of sucking on the breast of the union and doing what the union wants them to do. $600 in the building. Appreciate it over all platforms. We had 1,800 yesterday on yesterday's podcast. And listen, man, you want to help us out, help us continue, man. Make a donation as low as a cup of coffee. Use the Cash App, $ Can We Keep It Real? But we're definitely failing our students, right? We're turning a blind eye to these threats. We're getting numb to all this stuff. Where's the safety to these kids? It's becoming secondary to other priorities. That's what's happening. And you got people like this Renee Palazzo character, that sweeps all this shit under the rug, just like Jake. She was so petrified of Jake's mommy. She was so pet of Jake's mommy that was on the school committee. She could very well still be on the school committee, the old hag. She's been on the school committee forever. Like a statue on a school committee. But we need to unpack these issues because the consequences of these failures are severe. Do students not deserve a safe environment any longer to learn and grow? I mean, I get it with that core math or however that new math stuff that you be teaching, like, it's going to be tough for them to figure that shit out. But that's another story for another day. How do you change math? Really? How do you change math? But they changed math. They figured out a way to change math, man. But as we unpack this today, about the negligence, the need for accountability that's going on in our school departments, man, especially Ponaganset. I don't know what's been going on over there. You got the teacher banging it out, right? And then what's he do? He takes it to his office behind a door, but he forget we got thin walls. So people are hearing him with the gym teacher in his office. So what does Renee do? What does Palazzo do to rectify this, right? The kids that walked in on him, you okay? Nah. She orders new doors that got a nice little pretty window. So you can kind of see in the office now. Like, this is what she did. Facts. That's her accountability. But how are we going to build trust in this education system? How are we going to build trust? in this education system, man, because it's too much. I was looking for some other notes that I had. Oh, our thoughts and prayers definitely go out to the North Kingstown youth football program. The loss of the coach that they experienced. Our prayers are with you. You know, so any problems that they are going through. I can't get this phone to come on. Yeah, so big shout out to the North Kingstown football program. Of course, nothing wants to work the way it should. But yeah, so that's what Jake was doing. Jake was, and then what happens with Jake, right? I think he gets pulled over. This was after the whole thing with his mommy saving his butt. Then he gets pulled over in a car driving, right? But only Jake is not driving. This was something else that got covered up by Ponaganset, right? So this is the second sex scandal in 5 years that got covered up by Ponaganset, right? Jake's in his car. He's driving. I think the police pull him over. But guess what? Jake's got like 5 teenage girls in the car with him, right? So you would think Jake's driving, but Jakey's not driving. Nope, Jake is not driving. One of the teenage girls, one of the school kids are driving. Jake's in the back seat. Yes, and this was the former athletic director, the one that mommy has been on the school committee for a long time, the one that's helped cover up all these scandals. Yeah, her. You know what I mean? So Jake's not driving. The 2 teenage girls are driving. Matter of fact, let me find where's my Facebook. The 2 teenage girls are driving the car. Jake's in the back seat. Police pull him over. And of course that got hushed up too. But at that point, Jake had no choice but to resign. And then in the middle of that, in the middle of all that, was a civil rights investigation that Ponaganset got stuck in. And Jake Kneeling was tied to that as well. Here we go. Yeah, he was tied to that as well. All right, here we go. Okay. Can you see that? Ponaganset employee was recently, this is in what, July 29, 2023. School asked him to resign around the end of June, right? Yeah. he wasn't really trying to have it. This was after he got caught banging out the teachers. And then he got a new door because then he was banging out, people in that room. Like, the guy was banging out people all over the damn school. But mommy was protecting him. So allegedly, it came to the school's attention that a male employee was driving around with underage females in his personal vehicle. It's being alleged that he was in the back seat with several other female passengers. But maybe he was just bringing him back from a sporting event with his shirt off in the back seat. When we called the school about it, they wouldn't discuss any administrative decisions. Of course they wouldn't, but absolutely, yeah, definitely come back, watch the replay. Who was caught in the classroom? Jake Nealon was caught in the classroom with the gym teacher. The other gym teacher, not this gym teacher that was, that was with a child, but another gym teacher. But, appreciate everybody tonight. Don't forget there's some football games going on. Davies is playing tonight, North Smithfield, and Smithfield is playing. Mount Hope's playing. So get out there, check out one of the great, great football games. Appreciate everybody. We'll see what goes on with this devastating story out of Ponaganset, man. But, shout out to all of you. Appreciate, what everybody does. Don't forget, you want to buy a house, reach out to Home Smart Professionals, and your dream home doesn't have to be a dream. It could be a reality. So big shout out, and you want to help out the program, let me know. Hit me up. We got a Cash App. Can we keep it real? So hit us up on that. This is what our friend Alicia looks like today. And that was her yesterday. This was probably when she was a kid. Believe it to womanizer John DePietro to use this picture. Long story. We'll talk about that another time too. We'll talk about that another time as well. If you're going to go down the New York system, it is now sold. New owners to corporate America bought out the New York system. Greg is there. Greg's taking his 6-figure check all the way to the bank. Drama going on in the world of free Karen Reed. Aiden Connie got exposed for taping her private conversations. Dirty is doing it. I don't know. That could really be. I don't know if that could be excused. But all right, man, we out of here.
One thing I love what Mikey does. Sometimes I'm like, yo, you over the edge, TMZ with it. But
the boy gonna do you something nasty.
I hate to say it, more times than not, he get the results he wants.
Right, and to be honest with you, I honestly don't think it's over. Honestly, I think exactly what this state needs. We've always needed a platform where we can call out the nonsense,
the repercussions,
and give people the props that they deserve, and call out the people who are full of it. And honestly, I think that more and more people are starting to utilize Mike's platform for that. And honestly, I know a lot of folks. A lot of people talk to me, "Oh, Emerson, like you're on there and you talk this and you talk that," and I'm like, "Listen," I said. Name one thing that he's been wrong about.
Hey Adam, how you been? This is Bobby Peugeot from Providence, Rhode Island. I'm at a legendary place. Ponyville, New York system in Providence, Rhode Island. Established in 1946, 4 generations of the Stevens family have been running this place with a secret recipe for the wieners unlike anywhere else in the world. Rhode Island is known for a couple of great things, being huge Sox and Yankees fans, the beaches of Narragansett and Newport, and the food. Providence is world renowned for restaurants, but when it comes to lunch till late night, everybody comes to Ponyville, New York system for one thing, the wieners. It's a secret recipe passed down for 4 generations of the Stevens family. Steamed bun wrapped around the wiener with a secret meat sauce, grand mustard, fresh onions, celery salt. Guys come in late night, order 2 tray all the way. This is how I like them, all the way.
We don't do no talking, we know what they do for the views. If I took a loss, no, I got it all back. They just wanna talk, so we gonna talk facts. Got it out the mud, got it out the mud. Really on the blood, really on the blood. Yeah, they know it's all, yeah, they know it's all.
That's the bad guy. Bad guy, bad guy. That's the bad guy. The bad guy. The bad guy. Commission. The bad guy. The bad guy. The bad guy.
Load up that queen.
Throughout the football season, every Friday night, we bring you exclusive sideline access and post-game interviews. We go straight to the head coaches, asking tough questions live with no edits. Just real, honest conversations.
We're now seeking sponsorships for our platform. Both businesses and individuals can support us through booster ads, helping to amplify our reach and impact. Your support means the world to us, and together we can continue to provide the coverage our community deserves.
We're reaching out for your help. Any small donations, even as little as the cost of a cup of coffee, can make a huge difference in keeping our platform alive and thriving. Can We Keep It Real podcast is brought to you by Beast Coast Football Factory and HomeSmart Professionals. Please consider joining our team today.